Whiteboard time. So we're gonna go through a high level of our programming and decision-making tree that we use in the gym. So the number one thing we're trying to build toward is some type of consistency of training. And this is basically the art of showing up. And we want to take advantage of this compounding effect of time. It doesn't matter how hard we train you. If you're crippled the next day and you don't come back, we've lost the stimulus and we're not going to make any progress here. So we want to find something that you can show up and do consistently. And there might be periods of time where you sprint, other times when you walk, and other times when you're just maintaining your progress. So when we get people in, life opened up for them. They might have some time, work isn't flared up, relationships, they might be injury-free. And what happens is we start climbing this metaphorical mountain. And they make a bunch of progress, they make their way up their mountain, they're super excited, and at some point in time, they start slowing down. Something flares up in their life, maybe it's work, relationships, injuries, boredom, right? And what most people end up doing is just letting go and free falling down the mountain, right? And then they're starting from the bottom again, looking way up. I used to be way up there. They try to climb up fast, hurt themselves, fall back down, and it's this recurring theme that we see. And we've all done it from a training, nutrition perspective or other areas in our life. So your job moving forward is to never let go. And you gotta excuse my handwriting, it's probably atrocious right now, but we wanna basically hold on to the mountain for dear life. It doesn't take much effort to hold on, it takes a lot to climb, right? So during periods of chaos, we wanna maintain our progress, maintain that skill, maintain some semblance of like muscle stimulus on your body. Maybe we wanna preserve a range of motion. And it doesn't take a tremendous amount of effort. You don't have to do 60, 90-minute sessions to get that. We can get that in a much smaller dosage, but we gotta stay consistent with it is kind of the main idea here. We could also scale back the number of days. So learning how to check the box and maintain progress is equally as important, if not more important, than making progress itself. So I have a personal rule or a personal habit that we try to instill in everyone, which is 10 or more minutes of some type of intentional training daily. And what I mean by this is training is just anything designed to get you physically better. So this could be walking, running, gym, Pilates, yoga, sport, anything to kind of get you moving. I like to think of things as almost like your daily hygiene, like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. You're not motivated to take a shower or brush your teeth every day, but the idea is we want to keep a consistent dose on it. You have some type of cadence that you preserve during the week. We want to take physical activity in the same way, and not only just to preserve ranges of motion or keep a good strength stimulus on your body, but just from an emotional standpoint and mental standpoint, I'm a much better human to be around when I train daily. If I go a couple days without training, I feel like I've got this anxiety built up and it kind of shows up in my life. So I found that training daily is like really important to me. The dosage is kind of dependent on the day and what goes on in my life. Intentional meaning you can't retroactively look at your day and be like, I guess I walked out to the garbage can today or cleaned my garage or something, some sort, right? It has to be intentional. I want you to have a plan in place. If that plan happens to go awry, we're gonna switch and we're gonna pivot to something else that's more sustainable for that day. And finally, I like to set the success factor on my worst possible day versus my best. Sometimes we create these artificial success factors like, I need to get 60 to 90 minutes of training in. I need to get 10,000 steps in, right? I need to progress on this lift, so I need to be well rested. And what happens is you end up putting off a training session to the next day, which turns into the next week, which turns into the next month. And sometimes we don't even see people for years. So we want to set the success factor on when chaos is in like full bloom in your life. What do we do? What's the minimum we can do each day? And setting a timer for 10 minutes is awesome because you can get a walk in, a run, some mobility work. We can do a quick little shuffle in the gym of a couple different exercises, right? We can check the box for the day. From here, you can decide. You have permission to leave. I've satisfied my success metric for the day. I can move forward. And if you're feeling good, which a lot of times you get a little bit of adrenaline going, you get a little bit of blood flow, all of a sudden magically you feel good. I've had some of my best workouts based on days that I've had zero motivation, no desire to train, and every excuse in the book not to train. and I forced myself to do it anyway. And what happens is I had a phenomenal day and set a bunch of personal records there. Rule number 2, never miss twice. And what I mean by that is never miss twice. We'll say 2 times in a row, 2 consecutive days. Then your streak starts over. If you have a bad day, that's cool. It happens. The next day, let's get back on the horse. And all you have to do is check the box. We don't necessarily need to make up for the previous day and today. We just have to get back on the horse and preserve the habit of training. Because one day is a fluke and a mistake and something happened, maybe other life priorities got in the way of your training. But 2 days is a choice. If we implement this methodology, the worst case scenario, you might get 15 training days a month in. So 2 metrics that I think are really valuable to track. Consecutive training days, because we want to build some type of streak. We want to build this as part of your life. The skill of showing up and being disciplined to do things even when you don't want to, right? We make this a non-negotiable part of your life. But what happens when you get derailed? Life kind of threw something weird at you. You got derailed a couple days. You have to start your streak over again. Now you have a PR of consecutive days that we can build toward and beat, just like we would any exercise. But I think it's also valuable to log or keep track of your total training days. So if we look at it over the course of a year, I think you getting 200, 300 training days is a better success metric than us just throwing a bunch of weight on the bar and setting a PR. I think both of them are important, but the most important thing is going to be showing up in the gym. So to wrap this up, everything is going to circle back to here. And we're going to go through a bunch of other concepts like exercise selection and standards that we want to achieve, maybe progressions, the speed at which we progress up and down, intensity and frequency. On our Circle app, we have our 21-day challenge that we propose, and that's show up and prove it feed. So we've got 2 things we can try to stay accountable for. Try to get 21 consecutive days without missing twice. Keep tabs on your number of days. You just create a post and say day 1 and whatever you did. I like to show up and prove it by just having some type of picture, maybe a little write-up of what you did. Doesn't have to be long. We want to make this stupid simple, right? Take a picture of the gym. Take a picture of your whiteboard or your workout. Maybe you did a fitness tracker app on your phone of like a walk. So just share that. Share a picture with your family, make it fun. And then also try to engage in the community a little bit, because we want to make this a virtual accountability tool. You're showing up just like you would be accountable to showing up to a coach in the gym or your training partner. We want to create that environment in this Circle app here. So follow along, like people's posts, add comments, engage a little bit with the community. Go to that Say Hi feed. I got us started with a post. You can use that template that I started there of just sharing your fictional avatar, if you will. And then write a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself to the community. I find that the people that introduce themselves usually stay a little bit more accountable in the community as well. Once you get 21 consecutive days, which you will, you get a free t-shirt on me. If you get 50 or more consecutive days, for every 50 that you accumulate of consecutive days, you can gift $50 toward a friend, family member, coworker, toward our online training, training camp, coaching, or open gym. Share your success with the community. In the next few videos, we'll address exercise selection, standards, frequency, intensity, and bring all of this together. Hopefully this has been helpful. I'll see you this week in the gym.